Welcome back to ABCGH Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the exciting developments unfolding in Port Charles, where tensions are rising and revenge plots are brewing with potentially devastating consequences. Dangerous revenge plot takes center stage. Christina Corinthos Davis is about to embark on a perilous path of vengeance that will have unforeseen consequences. Fueled by rage over Ava Jerome's underhanded tactics regarding Sonny's heart medication, Christina will take matters into her own hands by tampering with the brakes on Ava's vehicle. Her burning desire for retribution blinds her to the potential collateral damage, as she fails to anticipate that Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin will be the ones to get into Ava's car instead. The situation with Sonny's heart pills reaches a critical point when Ava appears to withhold his medication during a health crisis. Whether Ava eventually relents on her own or Christina intervenes to ensure her father receives the necessary medical attention remains to be seen, but this incident becomes the catalyst for Christina's dangerous revenge scheme. Ava will pay for what she's done, Christina might declare, her judgment clouded by familial loyalty and righteous anger, setting up a domino effect of tragedy that will ripple through Port Charles in the days to come. Drew and Curtis's relationship deteriorates. The once solid friendship between Drew Quartermaine and Curtis Ashford is rapidly disintegrating as tensions escalate to an alarming degree. Their upcoming confrontation promises to be explosive, with Drew boldly challenging, "You want to get ugly? You got it." This heated exchange signals a significant turning point in their relationship, potentially burning bridges that may never be rebuilt. Jordan Ashford finds herself caught in the middle of this conflict, harboring suspicions about Portia Robinson's collaboration with Drew and concerns regarding Drew's alliance with the manipulative Ezra Boyle. Her protective instincts toward Curtis prompt her to approach him with information she believes might change his perspective on recent events. "Curtis, before you make any decisions, there's something you need to know about Drew's recent activities," Jordan might caution, her law enforcement background making her particularly attuned to potentially dangerous alliances forming in Port Charles. Lulu's revelations to Cody. Following a contentious encounter with Brooklyn Quartermaine, Lulu Spencer seeks out Cody Bell as a confidant. Their conversation takes a shocking turn when Lulu reveals the bombshell about Dante Falconeri's unknown child, a direct result of his past relationship with Brooklyn. This revelation adds another layer of complexity to the already tangled web of relationships in Port Charles. Lulu also discloses Harrison Chase's attempts to silence her with threats, placing Cody in a difficult position as he processes this sensitive information. The weight of these secrets could potentially shift allegiances and create new conflicts among Port Charles residents. "I'm tired of carrying these secrets, Cody," Lulu might confess, her expression revealing the emotional toll of keeping such life-altering information from her ex-husband Dante. "Chase threatened me, but doesn't Dante deserve to know he has another child out there?" Laura and Ezra's confrontation. Mayor Laura Collins finds herself in a tense standoff with the calculating Ezra Boyle, who appears determined to undermine her authority and question her leadership. Their conversation grows increasingly hostile when Ezra makes insinuations about Laura's competence and her relationship with Sonny Corinthos, suggesting the mob boss holds undue influence over her administration. "What exactly are you implying, Mr. Boyle?" Laura demands, her usually composed demeanor giving way to justified anger as she defends both her integrity and her office. This confrontation could have far-reaching implications for Laura's political future and Ezra's mysterious agenda in Port Charles. The power struggle between these two strong-willed individuals represents the larger battle for Port Charles's soul, with Laura fighting to maintain order and justice while Ezra seems intent on exploiting the city's vulnerabilities for his own gain. Unexpected bonds form. In a surprising development, Tracy Quartermaine and Stella Henry find common ground during a pleasant tea-time gathering. These two formidable women, who have often stood on opposite sides of Port Charles conflicts, discover a mutual respect and potential friendship that could influence future storylines in unexpected ways. Meanwhile, Brooklyn Quartermaine attempts to play peacemaker, urging an unnamed character to walk away while they still can. Her efforts to prevent further drama demonstrate her growth and desire to minimize the chaos that seems to constantly surround the residents of Port Charles. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from a fight, Brooklyn might advise, drawing from her own experiences with impulsive decisions and their consequences. Her maturity in this moment stands in stark contrast to the brewing conflicts elsewhere in town. Ava and Rick's fateful conversation. As the episode draws to a close, Ava shares crucial information about Sunny with Rick Lansing, unwittingly setting the stage for the impending disaster. This conversation serves as the final piece of the puzzle that will lead to Rick and Elizabeth entering Ava's sabotaged vehicle in upcoming episodes. The irony of Christina's misdirected revenge creates a palpable sense of dread as viewers realize innocent people may pay the price for her actions. This storyline highlights the dangerous ripple effects of vengeance and the unforeseen consequences that can result from acting on raw emotion rather than reason. As these storylines converge and tensions escalate, the residents of Port Charles find themselves on collision courses that will forever alter their relationships and potentially claim lives. The coming days promise explosive revelations, heartbreaking consequences, and the kind of high-stakes drama that keeps viewers returning to General Hospital day after day. Next, we will learn about the issue of potential romantic complications brewing between Harrison Chase and Lulu Spencer, as their heated arguments might be masking deeper feelings that could lead to unexpected consequences for multiple Port Charles relationships. Will Chase's past crush return to haunt him? The question lingering in many viewers' minds centers around Chase's marriage and whether his old feelings for Lulu might resurface with devastating consequences. Will Chase's crush come back to haunt him in the end? This provocative question deserves serious consideration as tensions continue to escalate between these two strong-willed characters. Chase's emotional state appears increasingly fragile as he processes multiple betrayals and secrets that have upended his sense of security and trust. Chase's marriage to Brooklyn already stands on shaky ground, with trust issues and communication problems plaguing their relationship from the beginning. The revelation about Brooklyn's child with Dante has only exacerbated these existing fractures. Psychological experts often note that unresolved attractions can resurface during times of emotional vulnerability, making Chase particularly susceptible to acting on impulse rather than rational thought. If Chase were to succumb to these resurfacing feelings, the fallout would extend far beyond his marriage. His professional reputation, friendship with Dante, and standing in the Port Charles community would all suffer irreparable damage. The question becomes not just whether his crush will haunt him, but whether he possesses the emotional fortitude to resist temptation during this period of intense personal crisis. Marriage in jeopardy, will Chase destroy his relationship? The discovery of Brooklyn's connection to Dante has clearly shaken Chase to his core, raising serious concerns about the future of his marriage. Will Chase blow up his marriage because of his wife's connection to another man? This question highlights the fragility of trust in relationships and how quickly years of commitment can crumble under the weight of revelations about the past. Chase's reaction to learning about Brooklyn and Dante's child demonstrates his deep-seated insecurities about his own inability to father children. This particular vulnerability might be driving his emotional response more than the actual connection between Brooklyn and Dante. The psychological impact of infertility often manifests as jealousy, resentment, and feelings of inadequacy, all emotions Chase appears to be experiencing in abundance. Brooklyn's decision to keep this information secret for so long has created a perfect storm of betrayal, hurt, and anger. Chase might view this concealment as the ultimate betrayal, especially considering his profession as a detective is built on uncovering the truth. The irony that he failed to detect this significant secret in his own marriage likely compounds his humiliation and might push him towards self-destructive behaviors, including sabotaging his marriage before Brooklyn has the chance to hurt him further. Outsiders finding comfort, the danger of shared pain as revelations continue to rock Port Charles. Both Chase and Lulu may find themselves increasingly isolated from their usual support systems. Will Chase and Lulu fall into bed together just to have someone to hold close and seek comfort from? This question addresses the very human tendency to seek connection during times of emotional distress. Psychological studies have repeatedly shown that shared trauma can create powerful bonds between individuals who might otherwise have little in common. In this case, both Chase and Lulu are experiencing similar feelings of betrayal and exclusion related to Brooklyn and Dante's secret child. This shared emotional experience creates a dangerous foundation for intimacy, as both might mistake mutual understanding for deeper romantic connection. The comfort they could potentially find in each other's arms would likely be temporary at best and catastrophic at worst. Such a liaison, born from pain rather than genuine affection, would inevitably create additional complications in an already tangled web of relationships. The momentary solace they might experience would pale in comparison to the lasting damage their actions would cause to themselves and those around them. Dante's potential reaction, friendship and co-parenting at risk. The fallout from these revelations extends far beyond romantic entanglements. Will Dante Falconeri cut ties with Harrison Chase and Lulu Spencer? This question highlights the cascading effect that betrayal can have on multiple relationships simultaneously. Dante's character has always valued loyalty above all else, making betrayal particularly devastating for him. Learning that his best friend and the mother of his children knew about his biological child with Brooklyn but chose to keep him in the dark would likely trigger a profound sense of betrayal. Dante's background as both a police officer and the son of Sonny Corinthos has instilled in him a black and white view of loyalty that leaves little room for forgiveness when trust is broken. The professional partnership between Dante and Chase would almost certainly suffer irreparable damage. Their work as detectives requires absolute trust in one another, something that would be impossible to maintain after such a personal betrayal. Similarly, the co-parenting relationship between Dante and Lulu, which has been relatively amicable despite their romantic separation, would deteriorate rapidly if Lulu were to become romantically involved with Chase. Dante's emotional state is already fragile following Sam's death, making him particularly vulnerable to perceiving actions as betrayals. His grief has created a psychological barrier between himself and others, including Lulu, and any additional complications would likely push him toward complete isolation from those who once constituted his support system. Jealousy and inadequacy, Chase's complex emotions. The revelation about Brooklyn and Dante's child has triggered a complex emotional response in Chase. Unfortunately, Chase may also grow jealous of Dante because he gave Brooklyn a child, and that is something Chase is unable to do. This statement reveals the deeper insecurities driving Chase's reactions. Infertility often creates profound feelings of inadequacy, particularly in men who have been socialized to equate virility with masculinity. Chase's inability to father children likely represents a deeply painful wound that he has attempted to suppress rather than address directly. Seeing tangible evidence of Dante's fertility in the form of a child with Brooklyn would naturally reopen this wound and intensify his feelings of inadequacy. This jealousy extends beyond simple reproductive capability to encompass Chase's broader insecurities about his relationship with Brooklyn. He may question whether she truly loves him or if she settled for him after her relationship with Dante ended. These doubts, once introduced, can poison even the strongest relationships, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy where Chase's fear of losing Brooklyn actually pushes her away. The psychological concept of projection may also be at play, with Chase projecting his own dissatisfaction with the marriage onto Brooklyn's past with Dante. Rather than acknowledging his own role in their marital problems, it becomes easier to blame external factors like Brooklyn's history with Dante or Lulu's interference. Dante and Lulu, a relationship forever changed. The dynamic between Dante and Lulu has undergone a profound transformation following Sam's tragic death. Dante doesn't feel that he and Lulu could be together again because Sam is now a part of her. This poignant observation reveals the psychological phenomenon of transference, where Dante has unconsciously transferred his feelings about Sam onto Lulu. Trauma can fundamentally alter how we perceive those around us, even people we've known intimately for years. In Dante's case, The traumatic experience of losing Sam while she saved Lulu has created an inextricable association between the two women in his mind. Each time he looks at Lulu, he experiences a complex mixture of grief, gratitude, guilt, and longing that makes a romantic relationship between them virtually impossible. This psychological barrier may never fully dissipate, permanently altering what was once one of Port Charles's most beloved couples. The tragedy has effectively transformed their relationship from romantic partners to co-parents and friends, a significant downgrade that neither fully chose but both must accept. This new reality creates space for other relationships to develop, including the potential connection between Lulu and Chase. The irony of this situation is that Sam's sacrifice to save Lulu may ultimately lead to the complete dissolution of Dante and Lulu's relationship, an outcome Sam likely never intended when she made her heroic choice. Undeniable chemistry between unexpected partners. The intensity between Chase and Lulu during their recent confrontation has sparked speculation about deeper feelings. The chemistry between Chase and Lulu is off the charts. This observation highlights the thin line between passionate argument and passionate attraction that often exists in soap opera relationships. Psychological research has long recognized that heightened emotional states of any kind can be misinterpreted as attraction. The physiological responses to anger, increased heart rate, flushed skin, dilated pupils, mirror those of sexual attraction, creating confusion about the true nature of one's feelings. In Chase and Lulu's case, their heated arguments may be unconsciously activating these physiological responses, creating a false sense of chemistry that could lead to impulsive decisions. Their shared history as law enforcement professionals, Chase as a detective and Lulu as an investigative reporter, gives them common ground that facilitates understanding. Both are naturally inquisitive, determined, and willing to bend rules to achieve justice, traits that create natural alignment in their worldviews despite their current disagreements. The unexpected nature of this potential pairing makes it particularly intriguing to viewers. Unlike relationships that develop gradually through friendship or professional collaboration, the Chase-Lulu dynamic has erupted suddenly from conflict, creating a narrative tension that drives speculation about where their interactions might lead. Chase's long-buried feelings for Lulu. A seemingly casual admission has taken on new significance in light of recent events. Chase recently admitted to Brooklyn Curtermain that he had a crush on Lulu years ago. This revelation, which initially appeared inconsequential, now seems deliberately placed to foreshadow future developments. In the world of soap operas, casual mentions of past attractions rarely remain inconsequential. Writers typically plant these seeds intentionally, allowing them to germinate over time before blooming into full storylines. Chase's admission about his past feelings for Lulu likely represents such a seed, deliberately planted to explain future behavior that might otherwise seem out of character. The timing of this revelation is particularly suspicious, coming just as tensions between various characters are escalating. This narrative technique, known as Chekhov's gun, suggests that if a detail is introduced, it must eventually become relevant to the plot. Chase's past crush, mentioned seemingly in passing, will almost certainly play a significant role in upcoming storylines. The intensity of Chase's former feelings for Lulu, described as very intense, suggests that these weren't merely casual feelings but rather a significant emotional attachment that he never fully resolved. Unresolved romantic feelings often remain dormant rather than disappearing entirely, ready to resurface when circumstances align. The catalyst, Lulu's investigative overreach. The current tension between Chase and Lulu originated from a specific incident of boundary crossing. Lulu broke into Martin Gray's hotel room and found private information that she chose to share. This act of investigative overreach triggered the confrontation that has now revealed potential romantic undertones. Lulu's journalistic instincts have frequently led her to cross ethical and legal boundaries in pursuit of stories. This pattern of behavior reflects her determination to establish her own identity separate from her famous parents, Luke and Laura Spencer. However, her methods often create conflict with law enforcement officials like Chase, who operate within more defined ethical parameters. The specific information Lulu uncovered in Martin's hotel room likely relates to the paternity secret involving Brooklyn, Dante, and their child. Her decision to share this information, rather than respecting its private nature, demonstrates her prioritization of truth over potential consequences, a journalistic value that directly conflicts with Chase's more nuanced understanding of when truth serves justice and when it merely causes pain. This fundamental difference in values, Lulu's belief in absolute transparency versus Chase's recognition of necessary privacy, creates the philosophical foundation for their conflict.